RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk.
And now you've got yourself something funky.
RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk.
And welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I'm Michael Buckeister, host of this fine establishment today. We're joined, as always, here with Billy Hatton. Billy, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. Ready to roll, get some football started.
And we're also joined with Matthew Lyle. Matthew, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that after being away from the show, a little hiatus, that I've moved up from special guest to just a part of the routine.
Welcome back. Welcome.
We act like I wasn't here from the. I was here at the beginning, man. I just took a small hiatus, and I'm glad I'm up off. I've been promoted from reoccurring to main cast. I'll take that.
You are now our Skip Bayless back on ESPN, huh? But anyways, let's get into it. We talked, was it last Sunday, I do believe, if it was time to start panicking in Philadelphia. Billy and Matthew both said no. Philly is Philly. They'll start doing their thing. And then Jay Ejaya tore his ACL, out for the season. So now the question arises to Billy Hatton. Start with you today. Is it officially time to panic in Philly?
I think it is. I mean, now I wouldn't say full-blown panic because they are in the NFC East, and the Redskins, who were at the top of that division last night, before the night started, lost last night. So they still can get into the playoffs, but where I would say it's time to panic at is now how do you start find a way to win games? This upcoming schedule that they got coming up is not the nicest. You know, they got the Giants, which is a division rival. It's always going to be tough no matter how bad either team in that division is. Then they go play the Panthers, then the Jaguars, then the Cowboys, and then they play the Saints offense, who seems to be rolling. You know, and they still have the Rams and the Cowboys and the Redskins still left on their schedule. This is not going to be a friendly schedule with them, especially having division opponents backloaded at the end of their schedule where every team could be fighting for playoff spots. And right now, they have no running game. Right now, Carson Wentz is doing okay. He's nothing to, be proud about. 49.5 QBR right now. They're 19th in passing. They're 16th in rushing, and that seems to be going down. Last year, we know that they did it a lot, running back by committee. Well, that committee is gone. LeGarrette Blount is in Detroit, and now you got Ajayi going down. Dan Sproles been in and out of the lineup. So what are you going to do with that offense? It's time to struggle. Are you going to be able to get Alshon Jeffrey the ball every single time now? Because now teams are going to be able to play, double coverage him. So I think it's real time for concern up in Philly if I'm the division, if I'm the defending champs.
And Matthew, to you.
I can't say. I'm going to say not yet. I don't think it's time to panic. I think, like Billy said, they're in a bad division. It's not really anything that's going to concern me. They got good playmakers. Yeah, Jay Ajayi goes down, but I felt like last year even Jay Ajayi was icing on the cake. He was not something that was needed. He's something that made that team better, but I don't think it was absolutely needed. I think with Carson Wentz, once he shakes off all this rust, those weapons, Alshon Jeffrey's back, Ertz is always there. Dallas Goedert as a backup tight end really been making his own. Smallwood's not, nothing to snub your nose at there. I think they're going to be able to get it done. I think Doug Peterson's the man of the offense, the man of the quarterback. I think he's going to manage to still get some wins. It's not time for me to worry. I look around that division. I'm not impressed by Washington. I'm not impressed by the Giants. I'm not impressed by Dallas. Somebody has to win it, even if it's at 7-9. We've seen that before. So I'm not hitting any kind of panic button.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this question here. Since you both are saying that it is not time to panic, why do you think the Eagles?
I think Billy said it was time to panic.
Well, no, he said it wasn't a full blown panic.
It's time to panic, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not in full blown like let's do something right now type. Yeah, but it's still a panic, you know, because you know they haven't been playing that great. You know, honestly, even the game that Wentz came back in that first game, you know, he did all right, but I mean, it wasn't like, oh yeah, like that's the guy we saw a year before. Yeah, but I'm with you. I'm with you in that division. I mean, come on. I mean, I thought the Redskins had a good goal when they beat the Packers, but that's just beat the bad Packers team, and they come get demolished by the Saints. Josh Norman is getting punked on Twitter and everything. Who knows? The Cowboys losing. The Giants being the Giants, have they been all year? That's anybody's division. I think the Eagles are still the best team. It's just time for a little bit of concern.
Right, yeah, I wasn't trying to overdo that. I didn't know the direction Billy. I didn't know the question that Billy or Mike's follow-up question was going to be, and if you know, like, continue, Mike. Yeah, Billy's a little concerned. I'm no concern at all. So,
well, there have been rumors starting to surface that the Eagles are looking to trade for Bell from the Steelers, and also are looking to trade for LaShawn McCoy from the Bills. So do you guys think they really need to get a running back, or should they just kind of just play out the year and kind of, since you guys are saying Ajayi is just the icing on the cake, do they really need these guys?
I don't think I hadn't heard the rumor about McCoy. I'd heard it about David Johnson. I don't know if McCoy's going to want to.
It literally just came out like
the way
5-6 minutes ago.
It may have been.
Yep.
Either way, I think it's all icing on the cake. It's all back to what Ajayi was, because if you think about it, they didn't need Ajayi, but when you think what they gave up for Ajayi, it made perfect sense. And if they can do the same, if they can get a McCoy, a David Johnson, I don't think a Le'Veon Bell is realistic, but let's say you get McCoy or David Johnson for a fourth or a fifth round pick. Yes, you absolutely do that, and you do so in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm right there with Matthew on this, and I think it's icing on the cake. Now, I do think getting a back like Le'Veon, and I think you know, since then some things have came out and said that they wasn't going to do all that for Le'Veon. You know, especially being you don't know what he want to do, almost kind of like the Kawhi Leonard situation. Are you going to have him for 1 year or half a year by the time you get the deal done? Or is he going to want to sign that long-term deal? But I think getting a guy like Le'Veon could really help Carson Wentz out a lot. You know, in those games where he's struggling, you know, he's looking pretty average. You got a guy like Le'Veon in the backfield that you can just hand the ball off to, get you 6 or 7, or you can just swing him out wide, you know, and he can get you a first down out there. But I think getting a guy like McCoy or David Johnson is really that'll help. You know, we've seen what McCoy has done in Philly before. You know, he's from Philly, played his college ball in Philly. I'm sure he would love to go back home. And David Johnson as well, because David Johnson is at least, you know, top 3 or 4 back in the NFL. So yeah, I think it'll just be icing on the cake. I don't think they need it, but I think it'll be icing on the cake, especially if Wentz is who we think he is.
And the reason I think it's so, you see teams like, you know, pulling these moves, and people say, oh, should we panic? You know, if New England went hog wild and tried to get Larry Fitzgerald, would they consider that a panic move? No, because when aging offensive weapons and troubled defensive guys, I'm just going to throw them in there as well, they are like antiques. And I don't mean that as an age joke. I mean that as kind of like a valuable joke. And if you go to these antique roadshows, to one group of people, this is trash and it's worthless. To another group of people, that's very valuable and it's going to make my life better. If you're Buffalo, McCoy really doesn't do too much for you right now. A 4th or a 5th round draft pick might be more. But if you're a team like Philadelphia, if you're a team like even the Chiefs, the Rams, the New England Patriots, a team that's knocking on that door, and you're going to take all the extra weapons you can get, and all you got to give up is a 5th round, which, let's be real, is going to be the last pick of the round more than likely. That's a pick you got to go for. And I don't think it's a sign of concern. It's just a sign of loading up before the playoffs get here. And when you're like that upper echelon team or a team that has that Super Bowl potential, you're always looking for that one additional piece that's going to get you from A to B.
I'm surprised, Matthew, that you didn't bring up, your team, the Warriors. Are they worried about any other team in the NBA? No, but guess what? Hey, Boogie, come on.
Exactly.
They didn't show you any love. Come on. Come over here. And all we doing is just reloading. It's just add more fuel to the fire.
Mm-hmm. And when you're in a spot like those, when you're got that A1 credit in the football league or in the basketball in any league, like New England, they're Greg Hardy's begging Belichick to bring him into New England, and really I see no problem with it. You sign him on the flimsiest deal you can. If it goes wrong, you boot him to the curb and nothing happens, or you get a great pass rusher, and that might be the thing that gets you over the edge. So yeah, whether you're talking about the Warriors, whether you're talking about the Eagles, or any of these good teams. When they want to add an extra layer to that skill, I never view that as a concern.
Agreed.
All right, guys. So we're going to have a new segment on the show here on Tuesdays. It's going to be Overreaction, Underreaction Tuesday. So
access granted.
The first thing I want you guys to overreact to or underreact to is the New England Patriots. With the addition of Julian Edelman, the Pats are the best team in the AFC. Overreaction, underreaction. Matthew, start with you.
The way you said it, the way you just verbally put those words in order, I'm going to say overreaction. I think the New England Patriots are the best team in the AFC or up there, but is it Julian Edelman, or is it the fact that they got Josh Gordon, or the fact that when you're 40-year-old Tom Brady, some of those passes, that arm just doesn't get warmed up as early as it used to. I doubt Tom Brady's going as hard in training camp as he once did. So now this might be his training camp. So, that defense starting to come together. Bill Belichick's finding ways to fit that Frankenstein monster-esque defense that he always does, where he picks this guy, that guy, and this guy, and somehow makes it work. And if he gets Greg Hardy, so yes, I do think they are either 1 or 1A, considering what the Chiefs can do this season in the AFC right now. But to make it specifically because of Julian Edelman, that's where I think the overreaction is, because I think, as it always is with the Patriots, it's 1,000 moving parts, and not one of them can be highlighted like that.
I agree. I think it's also overreaction. I think the Chiefs is the best team in the AFC, regardless of what happens next week. But I'm right there with you. They have the best player, I believe, in the NFL right now, and that's Tom Brady. Anytime you have 12 taking snaps from the center, you have a pretty good chance to win, no matter who else is on the team. We've seen Brady do that before, take guys who are no names and, win with them. They have arguably the best tight end in the NFL. But if you ask me right now, Gronk is kind of banged up, and I like Kelsey, but still, Gronk is still a good option. And to your training camp point, Matthew, Tom Brady took a few more weeks off. Remember, he showed up late this year. He was traveling, doing all this kind of stuff with Giselle and the kids. So, I'm sure he's not in top Tom Brady MVP form just yet. But, I think it's an overreaction. Julian Edelman and Josh Gordon are nice pieces, but I'll still take the Chiefs right now.
Now, and once again, if we want to pick on words, and we're just getting down to nitpicking and just for conversation's sake, I think the reason I think the New England Patriots are the best team is because I think the Chiefs have the more athletic quarterback, more upside quarterback for now. I mean, if I don't think you worry about Tom Brady breaking a 40-yard run on you. The weapons are better, I would say, for the Chiefs, depending on how Josh Gordon pans out. Gronk, Kelsey, I think are 1A, 1B, and if Gronk's not as healthy as he can be, I think Kelsey takes that lead. But I think team-wise, and this is just really the quote-unquote Patriots way, I think they got better pieces right now than the Chiefs. And it goes back to what we talked about a couple of days ago or maybe last week. This is, in my opinion, this is the year that the Chiefs get invited to the party. This is the year that they're knocking on the door. The next year and the year after is when I think you look at the Chiefs and you're just absolutely afraid of playing that team.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next question here. With the immersion of Connor on the Steelers running the ball really, really well, overreaction, underreaction, the Steelers do not need Bell, and they should trade him. Overreaction, underreaction. Matthew, start with you.
I'm gonna say underreaction. I think that's fine. I think that's legitimate. We talked about this. I think it also goes back to a little behind the scenes conversation we had before the show came on with another team, that I don't see the Steelers being a Super Bowl contender with that defense right now. I don't know how much of a difference Le'Veon will make, especially mentally. I mean, if you sign Le'Veon to a 6-year deal, I think you might get a really, really good Le'Veon. But if you just bring him in for the rest of the season, I don't know how much of Le'Veon you're truly getting. So I think with what you're doing, you're fine. You know, you're trying to make the playoffs if you can. You're trying to, the guys ahead of you in the division aren't really used to winning that division. So you try to get a young quarterback or a young running back familiar with the system. You try to break in these new young receivers you got. You try to get this young defense playing aggressive. And if you win, great. And if you lose, I don't think this is a year you're really you're really hoping for too much anyway. So I think you're actually just doing yourself a disservice if you bring back Le'Veon, because I don't think a Super Bowl is in the cards right now. He's not going to be your long-term solution, and now you're taking carries away from your potential long-term solution. I wouldn't be surprised if the season goes too far down the tank if Big Ben don't get an early start on the offseason. Let's just see what Mason can do like the Chiefs did last year. I'm not comparing the two teams. I'm just saying wouldn't be surprised. So I don't think they need to waste their time and energy signing Le'Veon. If he wants to come back, great. That's fine, whatever. But I think we're at the point where you're not trying to beg him and jump through hoops like you might have been 6-7 weeks ago. The season is what the season is. Connor's played solid. I can't hate on it. I think you just keep trying to build on that and move forward.
Okay, so I took this question a little bit different. So I took this question as if, by the way, I put overreaction because I think the Steelers wouldn't be 2-1 if they had Le'Veon Bell at the start of the year. I believe they beat the Browns in Week 1. A rainy game, neither quarterback did anything. Well, I think Le'Veon makes a difference in that game against Cleveland. Maybe it doesn't need to go to overtime. I also think that they would win a couple more. I think right now, instead of 2-1, I think they would be 4-1 right now if they had Le'Veon. Now, Connor has been doing great. 5 touchdowns on the year, 4.1 yards per carry average, just 84 attempts. But what I think the difference would have been, through 5 weeks last year, Le'Veon had 405 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. Now, this is the big difference. He had 36 receptions, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Connor has 0 in that department. That's where Le'Veon would have made the biggest difference on this Steelers team. I think with the addition of Le'Veon, maybe this defense wouldn't be getting as exposed. Maybe they'll have a little bit more time to rest. Right now, it's all Big Ben. I think Big Ben right now is, 3rd in the NFL in passing yards. Maybe he wouldn't have to do all that. Maybe he'll be a little bit more efficient, And I know who else will be getting help from this. Antonio Brown will be getting more help from this, because now it's with Connor, there's no threat. You can play defense the way that you play defense, and you can double Antonio Brown. That's why we see Schuster and Vance McDonald and all these guys getting a lot of passes thrown to him, because Antonio Brown is getting double. With Le'Veon Bell, that doesn't happen. He helps Big Ben in the backfield, pass blocking. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. I think that makes a difference. So I think it's definitely an overreaction.
All right, so move on to the final over-under reaction here. With the Rams with another close victory, the Rams go 16-0. Overreaction, underreaction. Billy, go ahead and start with you on this one.
I'm just going to say that's overreaction. I mean, magical when Brady and them did it. But I just think with the rules and all this stuff now, you can be beat on any day. Roughing the passer call, go one way, and extends drives. So, I think it's overreaction. I think they lose a few.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely overreaction. I mean, we see it already when they get a 2 or 3 touchdown lead, they take out Gurley especially, and the receivers start trickling in and out. I imagine once they top this division, even if they start 12-0, I imagine you're going to see that come earlier and earlier in the games. To Billy's point, great point there about the rules. You don't know what rules. And the biggest rule, not even with the roughing the passer, the biggest rule that's really been taking effect the last couple of years is the fact that the refs can take you out the game with concussion. If the ref thinks you took a hard hit, they can come down and say, hey, he needs to come out the game. That could happen at any time. And if you're any of those quarterbacks, any of those players, Gurley, you're Wood, you're Cup, you're any of those guys, you could be, if you take a hard hit on a huge play and you got to come out for the final play of the game, that could have a huge impact. And those are just things you can't control. It's a 16-game season. We're not even going to talk about the old age injuries or the old, the old villain that always reared its ugly head for teams. If an injury happens. No, I just think Billy brought up the Patriots as well. I love that season, but it didn't end the way I wanted it to. We still have a 1 in the Super Bowl. I think when a team goes undefeated, in my lifetime, I've experienced it twice and had it end disappointing. The 2007 Patriots and the 2015 Kentucky Wildcats. You get all the way to, you go undefeated in games that you wouldn't even care about. You tend to care about. Week 17, Patriots versus Giants. 9 times out of 10, I would not care about. But when you're 15-0, you care about it. 2015, the Kentucky Wildcats go on the road to a Georgia team down by 2 with a minute left. 9 times out of 10, you don't even care about that game because your team don't need that. When it's undefeated, it's just additional pressure. And in today's time period, with all the media, everything going around, that pressure is going to bust that pipe. And 9 times out of 10, I hate to say it as well, or at least 2 times out of 4, it comes in at the biggest time, the championship game. So, no, I think it's a huge overreaction. They do it, and I don't think you want it if you're the Rams.
Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. We're going to stick with the NFL because the NFL is kind of ruling the show right now. Billy, what is your biggest surprise from Week 5?
My biggest surprise is that they're still roughing the passer penalties, man. Like this is like ruining the NFL. Now, that's not to say that I'm not going to watch it because every time it comes on TV, you can best believe I'm going to be in front of it. But there was 11 roughing the passer penalties in Week 5. That moves the total for the season up to 50. 50 already in 5 weeks. 72% increase from where we was at this point of the season last year. It happened on T.J. Watt. He was falling down, stumbling, and he ended up hitting that Ryan Lowe. That's a flag. But see, now with the other rule, the weight rule, the referee now supposed to have discretion on whether or not you try to land on him or whether you not try to land. So why don't we start implementing that for that rule when guys are falling? What else do you want me to do? You just want me to fall and don't try to tackle the quarterback? It happened with Kawhi Williams in the Arizona game where he jumped up to bat the ball down and he hit Rosen in the face. Like, sometimes we have to measure intent. Like, did he try to do it? We always do with the hands to the face, it was incidental contact, or So why can't we do that when it comes to roughing the passer penalties? I get the overprotection of trying to protect the quarterback, but and that also reminds me of, like, I was listening to Cowherd the other day, and he was saying, like, Marcellus Wally had mentioned that this is something that the defenders should be able to adjust to. It's just like everything else that they had to adjust to. And I don't understand, like, that's like me telling my son, hey, don't stand on top of that or you're going to get a spanking. But then we go to somebody else's house and he's allowed to do it. You want me to tackle the running back any way I want, tackle the receiver any way I want, tackle the tight end any way I want. But just for this guy, I want you to try to do something different in a matter of a split second. How? I do not understand. They're going to have to change this rule because it's just bad for the NFL. They're going to have to change this rule.
All right, Matthew.
So before the show, my biggest surprise, and I'll be quick with this, was the Jets. I just didn't expect them to go out there and play the way they did, and they played really good. And I think that's a life of a young quarterback. Sam Darnold, especially when they're not getting all the attention. Yeah, he got the attention week 1 on his first start, but by now we're focused on the playoff teams. We don't care about those ones that aren't. And so it surprised me that he played as good. But since the show, my biggest surprise of week 5 is Billy's surprise. I told you guys this weeks ago that the NFL can say what they want. The NFL can put on the facade that they want. The NFL loves this roughing the passer rule. The NFL loves the amount of times that leads to points, that the fantasy points are going. The fantasy point numbers are outrageous. In my fantasy league, I'm averaging 185 points a week. My fantasy
Can I say something real quick on that?
Just one second. My fantasy points are off the charts. The offensive numbers are absurd. So the NFL can say what they want. And you can then not want to watch. If you can say it, but everybody who says, oh, I'm not going to watch because they're ruining football, you're still watching. You know who else loves football who's never watched? My mom. My mom's watched more football games this season than she has in the 30 years I've been alive. That's what the NFL's wanting. So they're going to hide behind everything else. But like I said when me and you did the podcast, Billy, the NFL said, hey, I want more Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and Tom Brady. College football said, psych, I don't have any for you. The NFL said, hold my beer, I got you. I'm going to change the rules to where every quarterback has the chance to look like Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, where every quarterback has the opportunity to throw for 400 yards because you get a 3 and out. Nah, I'm going to give you another chance. You know, it was like when you was a kid and you was out there playing basketball by yourself and you'd do like 3, 2, 1, and then you would miss and you'd be like, oh, but there's a foul. So you would get another chance. That's all the NFL's doing. They just want 400-yard passers, and the college football is not turning out that level of athlete. So the NFL's like, I got you, bro. I got you on the rules. We're going to make the rules so you're going to have an opportunity to chuck the ball 40 times. But please, go ahead, and what was you going to say, Billy?
Speaking to your point about how they love the points off of that, well, that happened in the Eagles game, you know, with Michael Bennett. You know,
horrible call.
He sacked Kirk Cousins. They called roughing the passer. Guess what that drive led to? Touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles lose by 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
And it's killing them, man. It's like, what do you want these guys to do? What do you want these guys to do?
That's the thing. They want them to keep doing it. Don't do nothing. Keep doing it. Because Kirk Cousins has gotten 2 touchdowns and probably 2 wins that he otherwise wouldn't have off 2 plays. Clay Matthews did it against the Packers. This happened here. If you're a fan of Adam Thielen, he's getting you touchdowns off of it. Look, we talked about this on the podcast, Billy. It's a business. And your best product comes on the offensive side of the ball. The best way to put your best product out there is to allow them to always have the ball in your hands. And I guarantee you talked about how defenders going to learn. Defenders will learn. It might take 3 or 4 seasons, but defenders are going to learn. And then what's going to happen is the NFL is going to get even more ticky-tacky. Now, the next rule, they watch what they did, guys. A couple years ago, they said you can't jam my receivers. And then they started building on that. They said now you can't hit them. But what was it, the Cowboys game Sunday night? I don't think the safety clocked the receiver. I don't think he was defenseless. They called it. So now that receiver gets a chance to get more yards. Then they started doing it to the linemen. No hands to the face. Then they did this quarterback. This year, a rule that's not getting much conversation, but they started talking about ways you can tackle the running back. It's not really having an impact, but watch. Over the next couple years, they're going to start focusing on that rule. where if you tackle the running back low, you tackle the running back high, you tackle the running back from the sideways, he's defenseless, he couldn't see it. These are going to start slowly being things, so the offense pretty much scores every time they have the ball, and the NFL wants that. They're going to hide behind they care about you and your protection and you living forever. They're going to hide behind that. But really, they just want the offense to score as much as possible.
Billy, you got any rebuttal on that?
No, I agree with everything.
Oh, alrighty. So we have a couple minutes left, guys, and I want to ask one question. Are the kickers in the NFL cursed? Because Cosby missed 5 field goals in the loss to the Lions on Sunday. The Vikings kicker, they signed Dan Bailey. He is historically like a 90 to 93% field goal kicker. He missed 2 that I seen. Are the kickers cursed?
Well, if I could take this one real quick, and then Billy actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Put your tinfoil hats on, fellas. You know, we talked the other day about things that happened that the NFL didn't control. The NFL didn't have their hand in, but it's just happening, and the NFL is enjoying it. We talked about overtime. This is another one. I don't think the NFL has done anything that made these kickers miss, but the NFL loves it. Because in my opinion, the NFL has been looking for a reason to get rid of kickers. They don't want the kickoff. They think that's too dangerous. They'd probably rather you go for it on 4th down than kicking field goal. They'd rather you go for 2.
Exciting.
So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the kickers. I mean, maybe Dan Bailey's just getting old because Dallas Cowboys cut him, and everybody's like, what's going on? Maybe they saw something we didn't. I don't know because nothing's really changed. Maybe they secretly sent out a rule that you can only practice so many kicks. I don't know. But I think the NFL loves this, and I think they hope for this. So to answer your real question, I don't have a clue because I'm not a kicker, and I don't know what could change mentally. I mean, Adam Vinatieri missed one against the Patriots. Like, he went on to make another one, but he missed one that was really important. And so I don't know what's going on, but I know that the NFL is enjoying this because this is all that is needed for them to just X that whole position out and say, we're going to start the ball on the 25 after somebody scores, and you got to go for 2s every time.
Well, I did a little some stat digging because we talked about this a few weeks ago. There's been a total of 82 missed kicks this year already, right? 279 extra points. 11 of those have been missed. From 0 to 19 yards. Get this. 0 to 19. There's been 35 missed kicks. There has been no missed kicks from the 20 to the 29. 5 kicks from the 30 to the 39. 40 to 49, there's been 18. And from 50 plus, there's been 13. I don't know what's in the kicker juice this year, what they feed those kickers, but man, there has been some missed field goals this year, and even in college, there's been plenty of missed kicks in college this year as well. I don't know what it is, but the kickers need to stay off of it.
Well, yeah. The college one, I'll give a pass on college one. I haven't been following the college missed kicks as much because it's a much bigger sample size. But you got freshman kickers, you got new kickers in and out. These offenses, they score 1,000 points a game, so you got to kick 10 extra points. But the NFL, those are pretty solid guys. I mean, Mike listed some pretty solid names. The only thing I can think that it could be, and I'm trying to think, we see in baseball, we see batting percentages go down because kids growing up in high school and college, they try to swing the bat that's going to hit it a home run. And so now when you hit a ball, it's either a home run or a pop fly. So you see those numbers go down. The only thing I can think is that kickers are doing something different to try to do something better, and it's having a negative effect. I don't know. Or maybe it's like you said, maybe they're drinking something. Shoot, maybe we can pull our tinfoil hats out. Maybe the NFL's secretly blowing extra air in there to cause the field goals to move, and they want to get rid of it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think any answer is as good as others or as silly as others. And because there's no answer. I mean, the fact that or maybe we were just as much as people don't care about kickers. Maybe we were living in the golden age of kickers. Maybe the last 10 years was Gostowski, drawing a blank on that one, but Vinatieri, Sebastian Janikowski. Maybe we were just Dan Bailey.
From the great Florida State University, Janikowski.
Maybe we were just living in a time where we had the world's greatest kickers, and they're fizzling out, and our next group of kickers aren't that good. Maybe kids just don't want to be kickers anymore. Like I don't know. I just it could be a number of things, but it's definitely having an impact.
For sure.
Alrighty, guys. Well, like I just kind of wanted to catch your thoughts on that. I mean, because after the Baltimore kicker kicked that 69 70-yarder to set the record, it seems like everybody's starting to miss. So I was just kind of curious if he took all the good luck away from everybody else, or what exactly.
Maybe he needed all the kickers kicking energy to kick that one, and now they don't have any left.
Yeah, like they all summoned
like a Space Jam type thing. Yeah, or I don't know if I'm the only one who watches Dragon Ball Z, but then like when he does like this, he got this spirit bomb that everybody has to give all their energy for, and then they're all like dead afterwards. Maybe that's it. Maybe he just had to. He had to have like energy for his leg, and he like drained all the other kickers' energy to. But, Mike, if I can have 1 little minute for a rant, I would love to just be real quick about this.
Matthew, you have 3 good minutes. Go for it.
I don't know if I'm gonna need all that. I am going to say I tried to figure out ways I can make this clever. I can make this pop, but now it's just going to turn into a rant. On the show, we tend to stay away from politics, and I'm fine with that. Like I prefer it that way. I'm not really into some pop culture things or I guess real culture, real life things. I try to hide behind what sports does, and it makes life easier for me. But I do hear a lot of people complaining, whether they're doing it wrong or they're not doing it all, that the athletes don't use their platform. And in the NFL, that's fine. You're adults. You can make that decision. But you learn from that in high school and college. And in college, so seldom do you get an opportunity to really just say, you know what, I'm going to use my platform. You know, and not to be a homer, but Coach Cal does a really good job of taking Kentucky players, and he goes overseas and he does things for charity, and it's great. But another thing come up that I thought would just be magical. It'd be just awesome. The NCAA, there was a couple teams in college basketball that attempted to put some legitimate scrimmages, exhibition games going on, and I believe it would be for disaster victims. I think it was North Carolina and South Carolina trying to get a game, which, let's be real, North Carolina has a really good fan base. And then it would be Kentucky and Notre Dame. They wanted a game. Kentucky has a great fan base. The NCAA came in on their high horse and shut this down and said, nope, can't do it. You can no longer have exhibitions for charity. It would take away their amateur status. And me and Billy have been harsh on this monster of greed called the NCAA, but this one just really takes the cake. This one just really kind of kicked me in the stomach. Like, if you don't want a guy selling his jersey, it's stupid, but I get it. But I started thinking of all the ways that, especially basketball. Basketball's popular enough, but it's not too draining, that you could do things like this. You could literally do a Kentucky-Duke exhibition game in some of these ravished areas, and disaster victims get to come in for free. And I'm not saying it's going to take away the pain of everything that happened, but for 2 hours, you get to watch basketball. For 2 hours, you get to do something. And I know Coach Cal and Coach K and Coach Roy Williams down in North Carolina could easily donate money, and I'm sure they have, to these disasters. But there's just something about bringing awareness to it and hiding it in a great time, to taking a bad thing and hiding it in something fun. And when the NCAA just says, nope, not allowed, that just doesn't fit with me well. And I'm not one to boycott. I'm not telling you to not watch NCAA. I'm not telling you to not buy NCAA products, because I'm going to do it. I'm a huge Kentucky fan. It's going to happen. But the next time that you feel that your favorite pro athlete isn't using his platform correctly or isn't using his platform enough, just remember, he might have had the opportunity back in college or high school and had it shut down on him behind some stupid, illogical excuse. The NCAA would rather pocket all the money from any game that's going to be under their name and everything else be damned. So, like I said, I didn't really have a direction with that. I was just so discouraged by the NCAA shutting down something that could be really great and saying, nope, not in our house, you're not going to do nice things. It just, I just hate the NCAA.
That's ridiculous. 100% ridiculous.
It's the NCAA for you, man.
Money hungry boys.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Just, you just have. So college basketball is popular, and like you couldn't do it in football. I get that because nobody wants to play an extra football game. It's dangerous, blah blah blah. But college basketball is exciting enough. You get two exciting teams: Kentucky, Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, Notre Dame. Any of those are exciting, and it can go to something great. And your answer is nope, can't do that. Let's shut that down. But the NCAA said, oh, if you guys want to play for fun and have just a normal exhibition, that's fine. But it can't be for a charity. It can't be for a good cause. And I just say, why? I mean, the NCAA has an opportunity. We talked about this so many times, Billy. The NCAA has an opportunity to sit back and ride the money train. If players could sign with Nike and sell their stuff, they would stay in college 4 years. You would get to enjoy the likes of Jadeveon Clowney for 4 years, more than likely. If this happened, the NCAA would be rolling in so much positive publicity. A couple years ago, when Leonard Fournette wanted to sell his jersey and donate that, the NCAA could say, we support that, stamp their big-ass logo on it, sorry for my language, stamp their big logo on it, and get so much positive publicity, it wouldn't even be funny. Especially in a time where not the NBA so much, but the NFL's been dogged for charging breast cancer awareness groups and charging the military to do charity type things. The NCAA could get on board with this and say, hey, we care about your kids. We care about the youth of America. But time after time, they just find a way to come across greedy.
And
they want all the credit, man.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with you, Matthew. But at the end of the day, what can you do but throw your hands up? The only thing they can do is they can leave the NCAA and they make their own independent college amateur something another, whatever you want to call it. That's the only thing I think they can do.
Yeah, but you would have to do so much financially. I mean, not saying that LeVar Ball is loaded, but he tried to do that league, and that league turned out to be barely more than a joke. I mean, nobody really wants to play in his JBA. And I remember it was supposed to come through and grab all the players out of college. And the only reason I know who won it was because it was his team and his son. So
imagine that.
I don't know.
He just slapped somebody the other day.
What a surprise! Yeah, he did, didn't he? So
yeah.
I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, as always, thanks for everybody that joined us today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you guys are going to listen to Unpopular Opinion, Billy, where can they find that at?
Spreaker every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 12 noon. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, everywhere where podcasts can be found. Just follow the Unpopular Opinion Facebook and Twitter page. Unpopular 2018.
They are down there in the description, guys. And as always, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you on Thursday at 1 p.m. Have a good day.